Students, teachers, parents, game developers, welcome to the Game Design Challenge. This month-long challenge will guide you to designing your own video game with 4 lessons and 4 talks from industry experts. It is being hosted by the International Game Developers Association and Legends of Learning. I am Renee Gittens, the Executive Director of the International Game Developers Association, and I will be your host for this evening. Tonight, we will overview the Game Design Challenge, discuss game development, then open up for questions so that you can be best prepared to start this program. And finally, we will hear from Dell Technologies. The theme for the game design program is Advancing Sustainability. We all have a responsibility to protect and enrich our planet together. Let's hear how Dell plans to do this.
We must make sure our business practices are sustainable, so we're reimagining how future products are designed and delivered. By 2030, 100% of our packaging and over 50% of our product contents will be made from recycled or renewable materials. Plus, for every product a customer buys, we'll take back an equivalent product to reuse or recycle. At Dell Technologies, we can make progress real.
Wonderful. I know that the IGDA is committed to advancing sustainability ourselves with our Climate Special Interest Group and other efforts. Now, let me take a moment to thank our sponsors. As you may have guessed, this event is brought to you by Dell Technologies, Alienware, and Microsoft. We would also like to thank our additional sponsors, Roblox, Wargaming.net, the ESA Foundation, AWS, and Code in the Schools. All of these sponsors help make this event possible and are supporting students everywhere. Now, let's hear from Snow White from Dell Technologies.
Oh, hey gaming peeps, how are you doing tonight? My name is Snow White and I am from Dell Technologies. I am a K-12 education strategist. What do we do? Well, there's a team of us that one of our jobs is we go around to schools all over the United States and all over Canada, and we help build game design programs and esports programs in all the school districts because it's so popular and there's so many great skills in this. We could be talking about game design on a precision device or esports on Alienware devices, but really where a lot of our conversations are is what does the coaching look like? What should we be teaching in these classes? And the reason that's important is that there's some really important skills like communication, collaboration, innovation. We got problem solving, critical thinking, so many really important skills that we need to make sure that we are integrating into game design and esports. Well, why is that important to Dell? Well, those are the skills that we're looking for when we want to hire people. We need all those skills for our leaders to be successful. And so it's people like you that are taking on these challenges are going to be the people that we're going to look at for hiring in the future. Who knows? Maybe even a couple of years, we will have you at Dell. So I am so excited that Dell is sponsoring this challenge. This is so exciting. And that it's going to be about sustainability is even more important because that is another area that is very, very important to Dell. We all have to do our part in protecting the planet. And Dell has taken all these steps to make sure that what we're doing as an industry is protecting the planet. And I'm excited to find out the creative ideas that you have to protect our planet. So I'm going to let you get back to the kickoff. I'm going to get back to my game playing. And who knows, one day I might play a game that you designed. So everyone, good luck and look forward to seeing what you submit in April. Bye.
Thanks, Snow. I'm so excited to be working together on this great program. Now, let me turn it over to Lindsay Buckle from Legends of Learning, our co-host for this event. Lindsay?
Thank you, Renee. Hello and welcome to the Dell Technologies Advancing Sustainability Game Design Challenge. We are so excited that you are joining us for the journey of creating your own video game. I'm Lindsay Buckle. and I work at Legends of Learning, a game-based learning platform for K-8 math and science. We are thrilled to be co-hosting this event with the International Game Developers Association and working together with a large variety of incredible sponsors, including Dell Technologies, Alienware, Microsoft, and so many more. Our number one goal with this challenge is to empower students to explore the world of game development while learning from game development professionals themselves. This month, students will be hearing from IGDA, Dell Technologies, Roblox, Legends of Learning, Code in the Schools, and the ESA Foundation, while building either a paper or a digital prototype of their very own video game. We are here to assist students and teachers at every step along the way. I absolutely cannot wait to experience all of your submissions on April 16th. With that, I'll pass it back to you, Renee.
Thank you, Lindsay. At the IGDA, it's our mission to support and empower game developers to achieve fulfilling and sustainable careers. When I was a young girl, I loved video games, and I still do. But I had no idea that I could be a game developer. I hope that this program allows you to recognize and pursue your dreams, whether they're game development or another passion. We're excited to provide all learners with an opportunity to design a game, no matter their access device, age, or previous experience. Depending on the grade level and experience of the participating students, there will be 2 tracks that they can participate in. Fully building out a digital game using tools like Scratch or Unity or GameMaker, or creating a paper prototype and an accompanying game design document. Both of these are wonderful ways to get started with understanding game development. Even AAA developers use paper prototypes. First, I wanted to discuss the resources available to you. Teachers and students have access to both our lesson plans and to pre-recorded versions of these lessons on the IGDA YouTube channel, brought to you by me. Not only will be opening up the floor for questions at the end of this ceremony, but we also have an email, events@legendsoflearning.com, available for you to send any questions that you have to, whether you're a teacher, a parent, or a student. Finally, we have our own weekly Twitch presentations from a wide range of game development professionals. And of course, don't forget to sign up for updates and reminders via the sign up form. And you can find all of these at links below. The 4-week challenge of this event is broken into 4 lessons: game development, concept and planning, prototyping, game development itself, and game testing and polish. I'm so excited to see your ideas come to life. I also wanted to take this opportunity to note that the true fun of this challenge is challenging yourself and learning something new. Game development is hard, and it's not hard because of the art or the programming or the planning. It's hard because you're trying to capture the hearts and minds of your audience, because you're trying to create fun. The best way to capture that fun is to, well, have fun yourself. Work together, try new ideas, and bring joy to life to share with others. Something that I find extremely special about game development is that it allows you to shine no matter your skills or interests. If you love art, games need artists. If you enjoy solving puzzles, games need designers and programmers. If you love reading and writing or history, games need writers and narrative designers, world builders. If you love music, well, games need composers and musicians and sound designers too. Game companies need marketers and community managers and lawyers and managers and so much more. So no matter what your interests are, I hope that you find a way to bring them into the game design that you're working on for this challenge. I would like to encourage you to type up your questions about this event, game development, careers in the game industry, or anything else that you have in the chat while we hear from Dell about all of their efforts to make their company and the world a better place. And then I will be right back to answer those questions and talk with you before we finally hear from Stefan Roberts, the Global Sustainability Marketing Manager from Dell Technologies.
At Dell Technologies, we believe technology has the power to drive human progress. Improving healthcare, gender equity, education, and the environment is all part of building the future we want to live in. It's why we're committed to bold goals over the next 10 years, because we can't just talk about progress. We must make progress real. It starts with our team. When we're diverse and inclusive, we reflect our customers, and we're able to unleash innovation. That's why by 2030, 50% of our global workforce and 40% of our global leadership will be women. It's why we're launching STEM programs to foster the next wave of technology leaders and AI initiatives to help us mitigate bias. Through all of this, we must make sure our business practices are sustainable, so we're reimagining how future products are designed and delivered. By 2030, 100% of our packaging and over 50% of our product contents will be made from recycled or renewable materials. Plus, for every product a customer buys, we'll take back an equivalent product to reuse or recycle. We must act on a global scale, including everyone in the coming digital wave. So we're committing to transform the lives of 1 billion people in the next 10 years. Through technology, we'll advance healthcare, education, and economic opportunity initiatives around the globe. It's not only what we do, but how we do it. At the core of all these goals is our enduring promise to uphold ethics and privacy. By 2030, we will fully automate our data control processes, making it easier for our customers to access, delete, or update their personal data. At Dell Technologies, we believe innovation is the key to a better future. When we bring together new thinking, new solutions, new collaborations, and new voices, we can make progress real.
Wow, you guys have a lot of questions already. Okay, cool. Hello, and I am back. So let's get to this. When and where can you access the course videos? Those are actually already on YouTube, and you can find them at the link below. I did update that panel right before this started, so if you haven't refreshed your browser, you might not see it yet. But you can also find it on the IGDA YouTube channel. All 4 lessons are in there. The first lesson and the 4th lesson are the largest, but hopefully that'll be really helpful to you. I'm so glad that your 2nd grade daughter is excited to make it together. When it comes to paper prototype versus a video game, that is really up to you to decide. You know, designing a game at all can be challenging. If you want to focus on developing a game and learning that software, do a digital prototype, do a digital game. That's great. If you want to focus on just learning how to approach game design, absolutely do a paper prototype or anything in between. I saw there were questions about Roblox and about my cats ran off and about mods. You know, you're welcome to do a mod in a game if you're going to submit it for the game design contest. If it's a paid game, please record a video of your gameplay. The difficulty is if you have a game that you have to purchase to get the mod to work on, that might just be difficult for us to manage and judge. So if you're going to be submitting your game and it's a mod, please record your game and include that in your submission form. Yeah, the cats just chased each other off. Let's see. Yes, in terms of ratings for this game, please make it no more graphic or violent or aggressive than PG-13. You know, we want to keep out M-rated and R-rated content just because this is targeted at students, and we want to make sure we can share the amazing things you create with students. I know someone also asked if they could submit a game they've previously been working on. We would not appreciate that. You know, we want everyone to be starting today, you know, starting all at once. And note that the theme for this challenge is advancing sustainability. So if you would like to win some of these amazing prizes that we have, you need to have that theme incorporated, just because there's a decent amount of points that are given to that. And if you want to hear about the judging system and the point systems, you know how it breaks down. Again, right below, there's just the Game Design Challenge webpage, and you can go there and it has that all written out. Also on that webpage is how you submit the game. You submit the game through a Google form, and it will all be handled there for you there. This stream will be recorded and uploaded to the IGDA YouTube channel. It will also just normally be available on Twitch for the next 14 days. So yes, you can link this stream either through the Twitch channel here, or if you give me a few hours, we'll have it up on our YouTube channel as well. If you are going to be submitting your game, the game itself and a description of it and your approach is all that you really need to submit. If you're submitting a digital game that can be played on its own with its own executable. If you're doing a paper prototype, I recommend that you also include your game design document, photos, and perhaps a video of the gameplay if you can manage. The more information you give us about your game and how it's supposed to be played, the better that we can understand it and the better that we can score your game itself in the judging process. Yes, you keep all rights to your game. We only ask that you let us show your game off if you happen to win it at our closing ceremony, which will hopefully be in May. We're narrowing down that ceremony timeline right now. The deadline for submitting the game, though this is running for 4 weeks, is actually April 15th. So you have time to get all of those extra things together, take the pictures, make the videos, everything like that. So you're going to be submitting it April 15th. If I make a prototype, could you even print out and play it? Sure. Unfortunately, with quarantine, if it's a multiplayer one, there might be some difficulties there. But if you want to include all of the PDF files for us to be able to print and play it, please go ahead. We'd love to review that. I do ask that you try to have a recording or something else to give us a bit more context. As I'm sure you all know, playing board games for the first time or a game for the first time can be a little confusing if you don't have someone there guiding you through it. We have done contests in game design contests. We've done game jam contests before, actually. The last one we hosted was our holiday hackathon, which had both games and art in it. And our one prior to that was our eJam, which was for high school and college students, where we paired professional game developers with student teams so they could try out game development and expand their portfolio and get advice from mentors. And that was actually a huge success, and one of the reasons that we decided to work with Legends of Learning on this contest, because we wanted to bring that experience to students who might not have even been able to experience game design before. And we hope that you find all of the materials that we've created for you a great way to start that process. This isn't really restricted to any grades. We say K through 12. So if you're in elementary, middle, or high school, you're more than welcome to participate. If you are beyond high school at a college level, then of course you can go through the lessons and you can design the games. But unfortunately, you don't have the ability to win the contest. So we'd ask that you don't submit to win a prize. If you were to submit a digital game of the entry, would you need to submit the whole game, or can it just be a portion of it? Since the game development cycle for this is only 4 weeks, and we understand that many of you are learning, it's okay if it's a vertical slice of your game. Like, let's say you wanted to do a story-based game, but you don't have the time to build out hours of story play. It's perfectly fine if it's just a few minutes. Right here, what we're focusing in on is the game design, the game that you've come up with. So that doesn't have to be the whole game itself. It's just a proof of the concept of your game. we're basically doing very, very polished prototypes is the goal here. And look, the cats are back. We recommend that your team stay 5 students or under. In fact, we will only accept submissions from student teams which are 5 students or less. If you want to develop by yourself, you're more than welcome to. We recommend that you work with someone else. Your skills can complement each other, and it just really helps to have someone else to lean on during this time. Yeah, the kitties are pretty great. The presentations are on YouTube, and they have caption ability on them. I will double check to make sure that they have captions, so that this recording, which we're going to be putting on YouTube, and all of the lessons should have captions, and I will double check that that is possible. There's again the question about choosing between paper prototype or full game. You can do that. So if you would like to do either the full game or the paper prototype, that's up to you. There's no restriction on that. Whichever you feel like pursuing and creating is up to you. In terms of how many people enter, we haven't done it for this level yet. We've had well over 300 teams already sign up. So certainly there's going to be some competition there. So be sure to sign up. If you sign up in the sign up form below, you'll get emails and updates. Make sure that you're getting all of the resources we're providing and you're staying on top of everything. Let's see. Let's say that a team does win. How do they split the prizes? That will be up to you. A lot of the prizes can be shared. So, there's gift cards and things like that. It'll be up to your team to determine how you'd like to split the prizes in between your teammates, though. Somebody asked, I was told by my teacher that if a girl were to do it, there'd be an extra prize. What would that prize be? We are not designating any additional prizes, to my knowledge, for teams with certain, gender identities or other types of affiliations. However, it is Women's History Month, and you should definitely work with a diverse set of people on your team, because that gives you a good advantage. Something that I think isn't talked about a lot is when you have people with different backgrounds and different understandings, it actually helps you solve problems more easily. Think about it. If you have 4 identical people and you give them a problem, all of them are going to try to solve it the same way. But if you have 4 really different people and you give them a problem, they probably have 4 different approaches, and one of those might be better than the others, and it really adds to things. So I recommend having a diverse set of people on your game team. It will be helpful, and it will help you make a better game. Yes, it is $1,000 in the various gift cards. So, I will have to double check the prizes. I will admit I did not review the prizes in detail, but all of that is on the Game Design Challenge page below. It's in one of the links. I will actually double check that right now. That would be actually, if you go to the bottom link there, the weekly Twitch presentations, and I will link that in the chat right here. This webpage I have just linked in the chat will have all of the details that you need. Now it seems like questions are winding down, so I'm going to give you one last chance to ask any questions that you would like about this challenge, about game development, about careers in the game industry itself, or anything else you'd like to ask. We will set up additional opportunities as we are going through the next 4 weeks, so you can ask those questions. And there's also a talk from the ESA Foundation about starting a career in the game industry. That's going to be in April, which will be really, really wonderful. The age restriction is just K through 12. Yes, thank you. Okay, we have a few more questions. How much documentation do you normally see when working on games on indie teams or AAA teams? That all depends greatly on the team and the type of game they're designing. If you want to design a game that has a really large, complex world or a very complex system, you're probably going to have a lot of documentation denoting all of those things so you can track them and keep them in order. Think if you're building something based on like Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings has so much lore and world building, you'd have to have a huge document just tracking to make sure that you have all of the history correct. Similarly, if you're doing a very complex game that has, crafting systems and combat systems and dialogue and choice systems and things like that, all of those systems will need their documentation so that they will be properly implemented. The advantage of documentation is it just provides consistency and clarity. It is, the source of truth for the design of something, and it allows all teammates to refer to it to make sure that as they're going through the development process, they are creating things that they've agreed upon. Now, that's not to say that the design or the design documentation can't change, but it is the one thing that changes and again stays that source of truth. K through 12 is kindergarten through 12th grade, basically up to, it's from as early as you want to. We're not going to say if you're a 4-year-old you can't, it might just be difficult. Up through 18 or 19, depending on when you entered school. The appendix documents I would recommend using for both pathways. If you are going to be doing a digital version of the game, those documents will still be extremely helpful to you. So I recommend using the appendix documents that are provided in the lessons because they will just help you get your ideas on paper before starting development. The appendix documents are in the Game Design Challenge lesson plans, which you can find, again, at the link below. And you are more than welcome to expand upon those. Don't feel limited by the size of them. If you want to write a full 20-page design document, you're more than welcome to write that. This is just a tool to be used in classrooms to encourage people to go over the main parts of game design. The submissions will be showcased both on our website and in a closing ceremony celebrating the top submissions. We'll probably have some highlights and then feature all of the winners as well. Yes, students from different schools can work together. We encourage you to create a team that works best for you. Let me see if I missed any other questions. You can use Scratch, people can use Roblox or Unity. Everyone will be judged together. However, we understand that there are different limitations and challenges to each of the tools. So again, if you look at our judging rubric, we're focusing on very much the intent and design of the game itself. And don't feel that you're going to be disadvantaged if you use one tool over the other. We're going to keep all of that in mind. Similarly, paper prototypes and digital versions will be judged, recognizing the advantages and disadvantages of each of those mediums. If you don't have a team here, we currently don't have one place to form together for a team. Why don't you email at the email below, events@legendsoflearning.com. We do have other resources for your game developers. Unfortunately, because of COPPA, which is the Child Online Protection Privacy Act, there's limitations in what we can do in terms of opening up forums for all of the students to interact, just because game or online companies are not allowed to store certain types of information about students without certain circumstances. The paper prototype and digital game designs are not going to be separately judged. We're just going to take into account their differences. So if you're going to do a paper prototype, feel free to polish it up, make beautiful art, similar to the digital version as well. Storytelling-centric games will not be docked points. You can make any type of genre or game you want. I've been in the game industry for over a decade now. I'm going to be one of the judges. I can assure you that we can look at games and understand the intent behind them and the benefits. And story-based games are just as valid as fighting games or any other type that you're looking to create. Whew. Okay. I believe that is all the questions. Thank you so very much for joining us this evening. I hope that you have enjoyed the presentation so far and that you're extremely excited to start on this game design challenge. As I said, you can find all of the documentation below. Look at the weekly Twitch presentations link for a summary of it. I will correct that to make sure that is the main link as well. The YouTube lessons are going to be super valuable places to start. They're going to talk about what game design is, what aspects of a game to look at. I wish you all luck. If you have any questions, please email the events@legendsoflearning.com email address, and we will answer any questions that you have. And now I'm going to pull up what's coming up next, which is we're going to be hearing from Stefan Roberts, who serves as the Global Sustainability Marketing Manager at Dell Technologies, about how Dell is advancing sustainability.
Hi everybody. Today I'm going to introduce you to some of the amazing things that Dell is doing to help advance sustainability. Things that we are doing as well as things that technology can do. But before I start, I'd like to come to an agreement about what sustainability actually is. One of my favorite authors and climate activists, Paul Hawken, gives a definition that I think is terrific. He says that environmental sustainability is about stabilizing the currently disruptive relationship that exists between the Earth's two most complex systems, human culture and the living world. And move toward regenerative solutions. That is a process, and along the way, the world will need to develop resiliency and adaptation strategies as we work toward achieving that balance. Now, I think you get the picture if you take a look at today's headlines, or any day's headlines. They make you realize global challenges like climate change, biodiversity loss, poverty, inequality, all of these stand in the way of a better, more sustainable future. So people have begun to take on these issues, but progress is slow and the threats keep increasing, as you can see. In 2015, the United Nations created a universal call to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure all people enjoy peace and prosperity. And as the Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said, we must dramatically step up the pace, connect the dots across all that we do as individuals, civic groups, corporations, municipalities, and member states of the United Nations in order to truly embrace the principles of inclusion and sustainability. The good news is that we're waking up to the importance of action, and smart businesses recognize that the eyes of the world are watching them too. Not only do executives recognize that they need to be more sustainable, but their customers are increasingly holding them to the task. We know that today's top talent want to work for a company that puts its values into action. I mean, at least 70% of millennials say they're more likely to work at a company with a strong environmental agenda. Well, leaders want to attract that top talent like you guys and know that they're going to be held accountable for the organization's environmental impact. So at Dell Technologies, sustainability is an integral part of everything that we do. We feel a deep responsibility to innovate for our customers and our planet using all the levers at our disposal to make the technology work for the world we need. To help customers meet their sustainability goals, we're rethinking and redesigning our offerings to make maximum recyclability, minimizing our carbon footprints. We're driving ethical and environmental practices across our supply chain as well as across the industry. And we are partnering with our customers, our suppliers, the communities to create projects that use less, enable more, and give back to the world that's given us so much. We break our approach down to 3 strategies. We accelerate the circular economy, and by that we aim to change the system, design out waste and pollution, and keep products and materials in use for as long as possible, and then finding ways to regenerate the natural systems that produce them. We're also protecting our planet and want to inspire customers and partners to do the same. We're reducing our impact, we're acting against climate change, and trying to value natural resources across the entirety of our operations. And then finally, we champion the many people who build our products. I mean, we demand ethical practices, respect, and dignity for everyone involved. Meeting those high standards is a condition of doing business with Dell, and we audit all of our suppliers to make sure they uphold those standards. So the biggest issue that relates to technology and to the technology we all use is e-waste. Every year, 53.6 million tons of electronic equipment becomes waste. That's 16 pounds for every person on the planet every single year. Another way to look at it, it's 66 times the weight of the Golden Gate Bridge every year. There are valuable components like gold and platinum in those electronics, and they're necessary commodities like plastic and aluminum and steel. All of that stuff can be recycled, and if you did recycle it and sell it at the current prices, it would earn you $57 billion, again, per year. The problem is we, the world, are only recycling about 17.5% of that through formal projects, which means that we're only collecting about $10 billion worth of materials. And it's a big deal for not just for the planet, but for our industry too. Well, they say shoot for the moon because even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. And recycling is one of the most important weapons we have in the fight against climate change, whether that be for reducing the energy needed to process things or reducing greenhouse gas emissions from energy or creating less pollution. All of that helps fight climate change. But the key is to treat all the materials as valuable and eliminate that whole concept of waste. But recycling is just creating neat piles of trash if it's not matched with actually using recycled and renewable materials, and then making sure that in the process those materials can be recycled themselves. And that's what our moonshot goal is, that we want to take back one product for every one that we sell to customers to either recycle it or reuse it. We want to make all of our packaging equipment out of recycled or renewable materials. And we want to make sure that at least half of the contents that go into our products are also made from recycled and renewable materials. If you're going to achieve these goals, or any of the other goals that Dell has set for that matter, you need to look at how to apply sustainability across the whole life cycle of our products. And at a high level, that means designing, thinking circular, making things easy to upgrade, repair, recycle from the very beginning. And we truly start at that place. When you build them, you want to make sure that you're using materials that are not only recycled or grown in a sustainable way, but that can be easily recycled at the end of life too. Otherwise, you're creating dead ends. When it comes to packaging and shipping, we want to reduce the amount of packaging that our customers receive, and we want to reduce the footprint of that and make the environmental impact of all of getting the products to you even smaller. And then, within the use phase, when it's in your hands, we want to think about energy efficiency. We want to reduce every product's carbon footprint. I mean, everyone is going to have a small footprint because it exists, but what is the impact? How can we make that impact smaller? And then in the recycling phase at the very end, we always want to get those materials back into the economy and not dead end them in a closet somewhere as that old computer that you're not using. About 90% of a typical Dell PC is recyclable, and where we can, we then put those recycled materials back into our products. Okay, so you may wonder, what can we really do to make things more environmentally friendly? The keys are simplicity and longevity. Make it easy, make it last. And there are 5 levers that we really use to focus on that. Modularity, making things easily removable, reducing the complexity, making it easier to plug things in or pull things out for repairs. Upgradability, disassembly, you also need to make sure that it's easy to take it apart. The recyclers prefer that. And again, if you're going to upgrade, you need to be able to make sure that it's easy to work with. Recyclability, I mentioned, you need to make things out of materials that can be recycled or that aren't too hard to recycle. Putting restrictions on paints, minimizing the amount of paint and coatings that we use, shifting to waterborne paints that reduce volatile organic compounds, or VOCs. You may hear that in regards to paint. And then providing documentation. Dell is a leader in providing guides that help customers repair and upgrade, and we have a tremendous library that helps support that. Of course, the other key part of all of this is asking, what do you make the products out of? And I want to highlight 4 of the areas that Dell does a really good job. We talk about recycled or renewable materials for products and packaging, and I'll give these 4 examples that illustrate how Dell is doing a great job already when it comes to environmentally friendly materials. Recycled and closed loop plastics, think plastics, right? The recycled content is something that we have included since 2007 in various computers. We were making that out of water bottles before, but we've actually started to, back in 2014, use plastics that came in through our own recycling. We were the first in the industry to do that. And then closing that little loop, making it easier for the materials that were in computers to get put back into computers. That whole process, we now have more than 125 different products that use plastics that way. It has a smaller carbon footprint, and we're even looking at other materials, magnets and steel and other things that we might be able to put back into the computers directly through our recycling streams. Reclaimed carbon fiber, sometimes other people's waste can be our raw material. The aerospace industry uses carbon fiber. When you make planes, sometimes even with automobiles, high performance vehicles, right? So since 2015, we've been using scrap that's been collected, and we chop it up and use it as part of what is called polycarbonate to make things like the lids of our laptops. And that's a recyclable material. Really, since the last year, we took a new step where we introduced a whole new layer that's made from a non-woven set of carbon fiber, and it makes things lighter and more durable. Now, ocean-bound plastics, we are also looking at ways that you can recover things that were litter, right? I mean, problem of ocean plastics has been in the news a lot. And we were ahead of the curve when we were the first to introduce ocean-bound plastics as part of our packaging, stuff that was recovered in coastal areas from rivers and beaches and the coastal cities. I say that because if you know about the Pacific garbage patch, by the time the plastics get out there, they're all mixed up and really not usable. We continue to use that, and we're looking at ways that we can put it into our products as well. And then the last one, bioplastics. We were the first to introduce this. It's actually a cool process where when you make lumber, when you make paper, all those parts of the tree What gets left over gets sent to a paper mill, pulping mill, and in order to make things like tissue paper, like molded pulp, like what they use for protecting eggs, for example, the process of doing that actually produces an oil that we can then turn around and use the same way we would use petroleum. So instead of using petroleum oil that was dug up, that is a finite resource, we can use this oil that's created in the process of harvesting trees for paper. And so it's not cutting down new resources. It's stuff that was already being used. They didn't have a use for it before, and now we're turning it into what could be the cover of your next laptop. So I want to shift gears a little bit. Did you know that when Hurricane Harvey hit Houston, it dropped 5 feet of rain in a day? Obviously, that's not a normal thing, but the images of climate change like this one that you can see here are pretty hard to look at and also pretty hard to forget. You know, the challenges are showing up with increasing evidence and increasing confidences every day around the world. And since the Earth is bumping up against these planetary boundaries, the ones beyond which the risk for generating large-scale, abrupt, irreversible environmental change, we are looking at what actions can people take today that over the next decade are going to have a profound effect on how the world both mitigates the damage from climate change, but also adapts to the challenges of what happens. So if we're going to avoid the potentially catastrophic changes, we need to act now. And we believe technology companies have a critical role to play up and down, the value chain, the way we use our products, and from suppliers to operations to our customers and beyond. We all need to work together to address these issues and protect the planet. Now, when it comes to Dell and our carbon footprint, you can think of it in 3 parts: what happens in our facilities, what happens in our supply chain, and what happens with customers because of the products and how they are used. We're a leader in renewable energy. We're already getting 44% of our energy from renewable sources like wind and solar. And we have a goal to reach 100% renewable energy by the year 2040. We also have a goal to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions of our supply chain. And then finally, we've really put a premium on reducing the product carbon footprint for all of our products through things we've already talked about, as well as driving energy efficiency and other steps to reduce the impact of our products. But what I get really excited about is the special role that technology can play in advancing sustainability generally, and especially tackling climate change. According to some estimates, the IT industry accounts for about 2% of global emissions, which is about the same as all air transport. The sector's ability to affect the other 98%, however, reflects why there's so much promise in digital transformation, right? The data analytics, automation, process controls that are enabled by edge computing, artificial intelligence, machine learning, even just cloud, among other technologies, offer us a tremendous ability to transform the way the world uses its resources and generates value. So let me end by showing you 2 great examples of how our customers are doing just that. The first is aerofarms. By the year 2050, we expect there will be 9 billion people on the planet, while at the same time the amount of arable farming land is actually decreasing. So aerofarms had an idea that would provide more food with fewer resources. Starting in New Jersey, they built vertical farms that could precisely control things like water and nutrients and lighting, and then use sensors and computing power to record and review all the data from growing. They were able to turn an old factory space into this highly productive farm. And the technology allows them to monitor millions of data points at every harvest. They use and developed with us a cutting edge approach to machine learning, machine vision, what they're able to measure visually as well, and IoT integration to create this system that produces 390 times more food than a conventional farm, and 40%, 95% less water than a traditional farm, or even 40% less than hydroponics. This is what's called smart agriculture, climate smart agriculture, and it's how you dramatically reduce the resources that are needed to feed a growing planet. Now, whether it's for gaming or business or whatever, we all rely on cloud data centers for our computing these days. Trouble is, a lot of electricity is used in those, and still a lot of electricity is created by burning fossil fuels. So our customer WindCloud is an example of a provider that's trying to source 100% green energy. They located their data centers close to one of the most dense areas for renewable energy in Germany. And while all that computing takes electricity, the cooling infrastructure needed also takes a lot of energy. And that's electricity that's not even helping you compute directly. WindCloud came up with an ingenious solution. They take the excess heat that's created in the data center, they capture it and pump it into the greenhouse, and use that to run the greenhouse. You can see the duct work that feeds into the greenhouse that's located on top of the WindCloud data center. I mean, heat rises after all. And the company then uses that heat to help grow algae, which is kind of crazy, but that algae absorbs carbon dioxide, and then the algae can be used in supplements and cosmetics and various other things. And what it does is it creates a solution that's carbon negative, right? The kind of thing that we need to do if we're going to capture emissions, reduce the amount of CO2, and actually reverse it and tackle climate change. So with that, that's Dell's sustainability story. I hope it inspires you along the way in the same ways that it inspires me. Thank you, and good luck to all of the participants.
Thank you all for joining us for the opening ceremony of the Game Design Challenge. I look forward to seeing everything that you create. Again, as a reminder, if you have any more questions, email us at events@legendsoflearning.com, and look below for the links to the lessons, lesson plans with those helpful appendices, and the sign-up forms. You can be informed of everything that's going on for this great month-long challenge. Thank you again so much for joining us, and I hope that you have a wonderful evening. Take care.